club isn't the best place to find the lovers, so the bar is where I go. Me and my friends
I'm really excited to teach you what I'm about to teach you in this video, because I'm a big believer in mixing up the way that you train and making every workout you ever do different to the last. No workout of mine is ever the same, and you might think, how the hell do you constantly mix it up when you were doing over 300 plus workouts per year? But it is really simple, and it makes a huge difference in the results that you see from your training. So what a training variation actually is, it is a different technique or a different style of lifting to what you would normally do in a given set. Most of us, when we train, we do a guess, let's say 20 sets per workout, consisting of failing in the rep range of 8 to 15 reps, and that's it. That would be a finished workout. Each set is the same. You repeat the same exercise 4 or 5 times, failing in the correct rep range, and then you move on to the next exercise and so on, until you finish your workout. For most people who don't know what I'm about to teach you, that is what a normal workout would consist of. Don't get me wrong, training like this is fine for 3, 4 or 5 workouts in a row. But then the reason people start dropping off and giving up is because it gets boring and repetitive and the results start to slow down. This is where you need to mix up your training style by incorporating the variations I'm about to teach you. I'm going to cover 6 different training variations. I want you to start including into your own workouts. These variations are going to make your workouts a lot harder, they are going to make your training more enjoyable, and they are going to get your results so much faster than just training normally. I want you to watch all of my full-length workout videos with voiceovers, as you will see me perform all of the training variations I'm about to teach you. The first technique or training variation I want to cover is called a drop set. A drop set is the practice of working to complete muscular exhaustion within a single weight, then stripping off between 30 to 50% off that weight so you are able to complete more reps, creating more tears in the muscle, training past the point of failure. When you compare this to a normal set, you are only breaking down the main layer of muscle fibers, which is preventing you from reaching maximum results with your training. Drop sets work to activate the deepest muscle fibers, creating more tears in the muscle, leading to maximum muscle growth. This technique is very effective when it comes to building muscle and dropping body fat. So for an example of what a drop set would look like, I want you to watch my exercise demonstration video on leg extensions, because I show you how to do a triple drop set using the leg extension exercise. I also show you multiple drop sets in my full 1 hour length workout videos with a voiceover. You do not have to include drop sets on every single exercise you do or every single set you do, but just throw them in there as a variation to make your training or your workouts that little bit harder. I've told you 1,000 times before, the harder you make your workouts, the better your results are going to be, and by throwing a drop set in there every now and again, it really is going to speed up the rate that you see progress and the changes that you see with your body, because it allows you to train past the point of failure. It does not matter what exercise you do a drop set on, you can pretty much do a drop set on any exercise you want, because once again, there is no right or wrong. It is all about training to complete failure and breaking your muscles down as much as you possibly can in a given workout. The next training variation I'm going to cover is called a superset. A superset is when you perform one exercise and then without any rest in between, you perform another exercise straight after. Once each superset is complete, you then rest for 1.5 to 2 minutes to recover. I like to rest for about 90 seconds in between sets, but once again, everyone is different. This simple yet highly effective technique provides such a big benefit. Since you're performing the sets back to back, you break your muscles down a lot faster and you actually hit different muscles from different angles because you are using 2 different exercises basically in the same set. So an example of what a superset looks like is in my full-length chest and biceps workout with voiceover video. The whole workout I superset 2 different exercises straight after another, and it leads to a very hard and intense and successful workout. The same rule applies to supersets as it does to a drop set. You do not have to include supersets on every single exercise you do or every single set you do, but you can just throw them in there as a variation to make your training that much harder. It does not matter what exercise you do when you are performing a superset, as they all contribute to breaking your muscles down and making workouts harder. If you are training 2 different muscle groups in the one workout, let's use chest and biceps for an example, you can start with a chest exercise and superset that with a bicep exercise. You can start with a chest exercise and finish also with a chest exercise, like I show you in my full-length chest workout video with voiceovers. There is no right or wrong way to train. It all works, and it is all about training to complete failure and breaking your muscles down as much as you possibly can. Every single workout you ever do should be different and harder than your last, and that is very easy to do using these different training variations. The next training or exercise variation I'm going to cover is called a giant set. Now, a giant set is the combination of 3 or more exercises with less than 60 seconds rest in between. The difference between a giant set and a superset is that when you do a giant set, you do 3 or more exercises in a row, and when you do supersets, you only combine 2 exercises. Also, the rest time in between exercises can be slightly longer when you do a giant set, obviously because you are doing multiple exercises in a row, which, trust me, is extremely hard. So what a giant set would look like, I can't actually tell you to go have a look at an example, because I don't do them very often, as not only do they destroy your muscles, but they destroy your cardiovascular as well. So again, let's use chest as an example. In the superset I showed you how I was doing the incline dumbbell press, then I was going straight into push-ups immediately after I had finished the dumbbell press. In the case of a giant set, you would move on to a third, fourth, or even fifth different exercise straight after completing the drop set. Now, it does not matter if you do 3, 4, or 5 different exercises to include in your giant set. They are all correct. You just need to mix it up. I personally don't like to do giant sets very often, as I find I am too cardiovascular fatigued by the end of it, and it actually takes away from my weight training. What I mean by that is I actually give up the set too early because I'm too exhausted. Not because my muscles are giving way first, but because I'm so cardiovascularly fatigued. This basically just means that I need to work on my cardiovascular fitness, which is something that I do need to improve on. So yes, giant sets are another great and extremely hard variation that you can include into your workouts. They are a great way to mix up your training style. I definitely recommend you try them in your workouts, but for me personally, I find them too hard cardiovascularly, and I prefer to break my muscles down and ending the set that way than exhausting myself cardiovascularly. The next variation I'm going to talk about is going to be called pause reps. Pause reps are definitely my preferred method of mixing up my training style, and I honestly use them all the time. A pause rep is a point during a rep where maximum tension is being placed on the muscle that is being trained, and you stop the movement in that position and pause for a period of 2 to 5 seconds. Now, by pausing at the point where maximum tension is being placed on the muscle is going to create a serious burn in that muscle, literally ripping further and further apart the whole time that you're pausing in that position. I want you to watch my bench press exercise demonstration video as I show you how to correctly incorporate pause reps into your set whilst doing a bench press. You will see me perform the rep correctly, but then I pause for about 3 seconds when the bar is just off my chest, as that is when maximum tension is being placed on my pecs. Pause reps allows you not to lift crazy amounts of weight, which can cause long-term injury or joint soreness, but you will still get the same amount of tears plus more in your muscles because tension is being placed in the muscle for a much longer period of time. Again, it does not matter when or how often you incorporate pause reps. They are just another good way to mix up your training and stop your muscles from getting used to the same thing. Some workouts you might include pause reps every single set. Other workouts, you might include them in the last set of every exercise. Some workouts, you might include them as well as using drop sets and supersets. This is how you mix your training up, and you don't need to change your training split every 8 weeks or whatever to stop your body from getting used to the same thing. All you need to do is be creative and throw in multiple variations every workout, and not only is it going to break your muscles down faster, it will stop your body from getting used to just the same standard normal routine. The next training variation I'm going to cover are called negatives. Negatives, as well as all the other variations I've talked you through, are a very powerful training technique that are going to help you see fast results. Negative training is also known as eccentric training. It involves loading a weighted exercise in only the down or muscle lengthening part of the rep. For example, if you are doing a negative squat, you would start with the bar and the weight in the top position across your traps. You would then lower that weight down very slowly under full control to the bottom position of the exercise, which is as low as you can possibly squat. Once you have fully lowered the weight all the way down as slowly and as controlled as you can, you then explode the weight back up, pushing through your heels to the top of the movement. What actually makes the rep a negative is the slow, eccentric or down part of the movement to the bottom of the rep. The longer you keep tension on the muscle and the longer you take to lower the weight down to the bottom of the rep from the top of the rep, the more you are going to get from the negative. Once you lower the weight all the way down, you explosively push the weight back up to the top of the rep without locking out and slowly lower it back down again, and so on until you finish the set. You can see me performing negative sets in my full-length workout video with voiceover for legs. I use negatives all the time. They are a super good variation and very effective. Again, I'm going to continue repeating myself because it does not matter when or how often you incorporate negatives. There is no right or wrong. Negatives are just another good way to mix up your training and stop your muscles from getting used to the same thing, and can be performed on almost every single exercise. The last training variation I'm going to take you through is called partial reps. A partial rep is a limited range of motion movement that mimics a full range of motion movement. So what that means is you are only completing half to 3/4 of the full range of motion each rep. I know I have constantly told you in all my exercise demonstration videos that you need to complete the full range of motion, and yes, that is correct if you are performing the exercise the correct way. This video is about mixing your training styles up and making workouts as hard as possible, so instead of completing the full range of motion, you might only perform 50% of the full range of motion during a partial rep. Now the reason I love partial reps is because you can actually complete 50% range of motion at the point of the rep where the maximum tension is on the muscle. So basically you are performing the hardest part of the exercise over and over again, which is obviously going to make the set super hard. I also love partial reps because you are only completing 50 to 75% of the full range of motion, and you can actually lift heavier than you normally would because you are not performing the full range of motion. Remember, the harder that you make your workouts, the more you are going to get from them. More weight on the partial rep really stresses your nervous system to the point where when you go back to the full range of the rep, it actually feels a lot easier, which means you are getting stronger. Partial reps are a great way to help gradually increase your strength. I want you to watch my full-length back workout video with voiceover, and you can see me performing partial reps in multiple different exercises. For the last time, it does not matter when or how often you incorporate partial reps. There is no right or wrong. The goal from every single workout is to destroy your muscle as much as you possibly can. Then you go home, eat, sleep and recover, and you stay consistent with your diet, and you will see results very fast. I personally do not change my training split very often at all. Every 6 months max I mix up my training split, and the reason I do not need to change my split is because I'm constantly mixing my workouts up with different training variations. Drop sets with partial reps, supersets with negatives, whole workouts using only pause reps. Be creative, guys. Once you start incorporating these different techniques, your training becomes a whole lot more enjoyable. You have a much larger variety of exercises and options to choose from. It becomes a whole lot harder, and as you know, the harder that you make your workouts, the better the results are going to get. The key to successfully incorporating different training variations into your workouts is to not stress over it and not worry about what you are doing is correct. The way that you determine whether or not you had a successful workout is by how much good pain that you put that particular muscle through during that workout. Now by good pain, I mean like the burn in the muscle or the fatigue that you cause that muscle. I do not mean lifting too heavy and putting too much stress on your joints or something like that. The more good pain that you put your muscles through during a workout, the better your results are going to be, and the best way to do that is by using different training variations to your advantage. I have also taught you about training techniques like progressive overload, compound movements, isolation exercises, and so on. If you mix up your training style and you mix up the variations that you use in each workout, you have literally so much variety to choose from when you're going through your workouts to keep them interesting, and more importantly, to keep them hard. Before I finish up, I just want to reinforce that there is no right or wrong, and you do not need to stress over the little details or the variations. It does not matter what exercises you use, with what variations, with what training styles. They are all correct. If they were not correct, they wouldn't have been invented in the first place, and they would not be talked about. They are all just great variations and great techniques that you can use in all of your workouts. The key is to break your muscles down and perform these variations at 100% training intensity. Try them all out for yourself, measure the results, look out for which ones you enjoy most, and actually have fun with your workouts. Now, I know that you love weight training because you are watching my videos, and seriously, my 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minute workouts almost every single day of my life is my favourite part of the day. Working out is fun, it is not boring, and it makes us better. The more variations you add into your workouts and the harder that you make your workouts, the better your results are going to be. So make sure that you try them all and make sure that you are always training at 100% intensity.